Informed and misinformed, welcome to the newest episode of the Unhinged podcast. I am here with my co-host Hermes, who exists and is hopefully not eating any food during the course of this episode. Right, Hermes?
It's right here. I got it.
The amount of shit I got for you eating in the last episode. I am addressing a situation that I was literally under the fucking sniper scope, fighting for my life. I'm out here saying some real shit, and you're just...
pumpkin seeds.
Yeah, also, by the way, your take about fucking eating watermelon seeds was also off. You know what? That's the topic of today.
That's not important. That is not important.
No, I think that's the hyper-focus of this conversation.
There are hyper-oodle amounts of misinformation that we need to be talking about today, okay?
Mm-hmm. We need to address the allegations of the pumpkin seeds, and this is the podcast today. Yes.
No.
Poor Taku suffered greatly under the regime of
me, Trump, and other people that get crazy amounts of misinformation flung around about them for their benefits or benefits.
Everybody gets misinformation flung out about them. It's like literally a political weapon. We have had misinformation flung at us since the beginning of fucking time. You want to remember what it is when you're sitting in front of a CRT TV and a fucking McDonald's commercial pops up and that fucking sandwich looks like the most majestic, godly design creation.
Bro, remember when the serpent in the Garden of Eden said to Eve, "Eat the apple"?
Yes!
It'll be cool, he said. Good times. Misinformation at its finest.
Misinformation, the primordial sin.
The primordial misinformation. But anyway, there's a lot of interesting misinformation type topics flying around. One sub-facet of misinformation is false allegations, which ruin lives. I have the biggest error in my entire career was I fucked up 2 years ago. I called someone
trusting
a pedo, and I apologized profusely for saying that in regards to Taiga. And I've said that many, many times, and I'll say it again. It was easily the biggest mistake in my career. I would argue it's the only really big mistake I've made on the internet. I made some other errors and blunders here and there. Maybe handled some situations better or worse than I could have, but that was easily the biggest mistake I've ever made. Ironically, I should have learned from my idol and best friend Keemstar, who called me a pedophile just this week. Insinuated. He didn't call me that. He insinuated it. Okay, it's a different thing.
I was told that I was also in that clip. Like the focus was purely you.
Mostly me, but he had you in his tweet.
Yeah, it was more like you were the prime focus, but I was also in the I was clipped in the scene that he was referencing or whatever, and people were like,
ever since I called Keemstar bald, he has literally had it out for me.
Damn, if only everybody had the Asmongold mentality about balding hair. Yeah, the world would be a better place.
To be honest, it's kind of hilarious how rent-free I live in the heads of so many people. It's just honestly kind of funny. Dude, there are these news articles. Now that I'm again, another thing about misinformation, when you misinform and harass people based on misinformation, like all the pedophile shit, that people are flinging at me, hoping it'll stick, it makes all these news articles, these bloodthirsty pop culture news article people, they are all writing articles about me now. There were 5 articles published.
Wait, you're in the mainstream now?
About me, not the mainstream, it's the cringe internet articles, it's not real life.
Oh, internet tabloids?
Yeah, that cringe shit. And they keep posting stuff about me. Half of them are wrong. Half of them, unironically.
The thing that I'm most impressed about with the world nowadays is the fact that anything beyond the title and the thumbnail is relevant in news anymore. That's a sad thing. I feel
you don't know how right you are. Okay. There's an article that came out about me here. This one's easily the worst one. So I expected the worst ones to be in regards to the lolly stuff, but that is literally a nothing burger. Okay, there is I'm gonna read, you know what, honestly, I don't even want to read you this title. I'm just gonna send it to you. You could read it, okay? I'll send it to you.
You want me to read it out loud? Do you want me to be the narrator?
Read this title.
Wait, do you want me to read it? Do you want me to be the narrator?
Just the title.
Read it out loud?
Just the title.
Okay.
Without eating it, reading it.
Oh wait, it cuts itself off. Hold on.
You can click the link.
What if this is a hack though? What if you're hacking?
Oh my god! Okay, I'll read it.
Can I trust you? That would be crazy.
You want me to read it? I'll read it. Okay.
Okay, I was gonna read it, but all right, if you want to read it, that's fine.
Okay, so the headline of this article is YouTuber Taku seemingly accuses Hassan Abi of raping underage girls.
I love seemingly.
They
like,
put the seemingly in there to avoid all accountability. Now I can't sue them for slander because they put in the seemingly. It's their opinion, guys.
This is literally, is this the new age version of allegedly?
It is. It's the new allegedly, honestly. Like,
we're rebranding allegedly.
So, just for the sake of context, okay? The sake of context is Hassan started with the false allegations. Of course, this article is sucking Hassan's cock, so obviously they don't mention this much, but it starts off with Hassan accusing me and Muda of being pedophiles because apparently we watched hentai in a Discord call, but he says child porn.
Oh, okay? Wait, so this is a new article, huh? Like, is this the article it's pulling from the
drama.
The post-Nux clarity.
Exactly. So this comes out. All right, so he accuses me and Muda of this, okay? Then of course Muda makes his video, which he deeply regrets. And now
we gotta have a conversation about that.
As a response to Hassan insinuating this about me, seemingly accusing me, all right, I mentioned the fact that Hassan went to a brothel in Germany called Artemis that was later raided by 900 police officers, and people were arrested for sex trafficking children in that brothel. So I mentioned that. That is not seemingly accusing Hassan Abi of raping underage girls. But it doesn't matter. That's the fucking title of the freaking article.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah, you are about to find yourself in the most interesting situation. This is going to be the most interesting year, not for you, but for me. Because like you have like the extreme, like the what is like Keemstar, like extreme right? Is that what it's kind of considered? And then Hassan's like
right. I just think he's like extreme bald.
Extreme bald. Well, you have like that whole side that's like anti-Nux, and then you have like the whole Hassan side, which is anti-Nux.
It's not true. I make enemies everywhere. Listen, I'll be honest. I do appreciate the amount of attention I've been getting recently as of late. All these people, it's very cool. I appreciate the scope on the back of my neck. It's very dope. But
does it feel great?
The point that I'm trying to make is I really feel like a lot of people don't recognize that misinformation, while it's destructive, if misinformation is proven false, then you are actually just creating a martyr to the misinformation machine.
Well, yeah,
Again, I'm no martyr here. I'm a fucking idiot blue guy on the internet. I don't want anyone to don't get it twisted, bro. I've made mistakes here myself. I ain't no saint. Right?
You fucking blueberry. What the fuck?
Yeah. But I think a really fascinating example of this is Trump. He is truly a fascinating historical figure at this point.
I actually think you're far more. I think the whole situation is far more interesting with you because literally, as you said,
Trump?
When somebody, okay.
Bro, that dude is more orange than I am blue.
True, but here's the thing. Hear me out. Hear me out. Here, 2 seconds. Listen. So obviously the whole drama happened and with you, in case you weren't aware, and that whole drama and all the people that were reacting to it and bastardizing you and trying to bastardize me for like protecting, like for standing up for her friend.
Literally
true, no one.
Dude,
like
my favorite comments are the comments that are like, Nux, I hate you, but in this instance, I support you. Like those guys, those guys are the best. Because if you won over those guys, then you were in the right, bro.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what this level of misinformation did. Like, these people came into this community, like the anime community, like obviously the VTuber community is heavily like anime and like gaming and stuff. Like, these people who are outside of that came in and tried to sling around terms that they think they know to accuse you of something you're not, and they're not a fan of the fact that you've made attempts to amend bridges, and literally the whole community, like literally the community that you're in, unified together and we're like, yeah, you know what? No. Like, we still hate you, Nux. Like, we dislike you and we disagree with what you are. But, like, that shit is fucked up. Like, I'm on your side for this instance.
Yeah, now that was a little wild, I'll admit. I did not expect that. So the thing is when, whatever, not to bring up old situations that are long dead and forgotten. But when post Nux Clarity dropped, I was like, oh shit, is my career over? It's like, you know, big YouTuber making a hit piece video on you. That's pretty crazy. But I'm glad that people were actually kind of, I guess, open-minded to actually thinking things through before jumping to conclusions, which was really nice.
I think it also kind of goes to show a lot about your like personal character. Again, you're not any kind of saint. You acknowledge that. I acknowledge that. You know
that. You're not supposed to say that. I'm allowed to say that. You're not supposed to say that.
What you wish I wouldn't say that.
You're supposed to be like, you're a good guy, whatever. Period. Like you don't need to like mention that. It's not like a disclaimer.
I don't just easily get on my hands and knees and suck somebody's dick. All right, like you got to earn that, and that's just not what's going to be happening here.
No, it's not at all. Don't even think about it. I don't even want to picture. Oh, no.
Yep. Well, anyways, struggles. I understand.
Moving on.
Anyways, moving on. Just for you, for your sanity. My point. Oh, dude, I totally lost what my point was.
Something about sucking my dick.
Yeah, I know, and it totally derailed me.
The only thing she could think about. Just pushed everything out of her mind. Anyway, I'll take over. Don't worry, I got you.
Oh, no. I remember. Shut up. Shut your face hole. The fact that it does go to show a little bit about your character, or a lot about your character, when somebody who seemed to be a very good friend of yours literally tried to slander you, but like the worst they could come up with is like 3 years old shit. So it kind of showcases that, like, maybe to me that maybe you're not that bad of a fucking friend if the only thing they can come up with is some dudes being bros watching some hentai a long fucking time ago.
Yeah, whatever. We covered this last time, man. Again, I don't want to dig up old situations. It's more about like the new stuff, the new misinformation and shit that people throw around, and more of the broad topic of misinformation. Like, again, that's
the tough thing about misinformation, though, because it just constantly builds on each other, right? Like it starts somewhere, it stems on something, and then it becomes just an echo chamber, right? Nobody cares the fact check.
No one actually looks back to the source. Like I think there was this other drama that I got into at some point.
Shocker.
Big surprise. So in regards to people defending me that don't like me, so Rev says Desu, he's a YouTuber. He covers like gaming news, anti-woke stuff and shit like that. And he so he doesn't like me. But anyway, he made a video covering this whole situation, like basically completely defending me in this instance.
Yeah, I think I actually ran into that. Yeah, I think I ran into that clip. Like one of my friends like linked it to me, and they were like, "This whole situation has mended a long time, like a long broken bridge."
I'll be honest. He okay, I'll give you the backstory how we ended up becoming arch nemesis. Okay, I don't think we ever became arch nemesis. We like kind of disagreed on one point, and it literally just snowballed from there, I think. So I think I made a tweet, something along the lines of like, I don't remember what it was. It was like saying that people that like lollies are pedos or something, and I really meant it as a joke. I get now that it did not come across as a joke.
Bad joke.
Yeah, bad joke. I don't remember the context. So, but it really was intended as a joke, and if it didn't come across that way, I am sorry. I didn't mean to like call.
Don't worry, internet. I'm gonna lay something to rest really quick here. Like, listen, Nux isn't perfect like I am. This isn't the first time he's dropped like a joke and it was a poorly written joke. He's also recently did that to me, and he got a whole wall of text of me tearing into his throat over it. And then he was like,
you don't understand. I took my phone out of my pocket. Discord had like 76 notifications. I was like, what is going on? And it's like, oh, my joke was bad. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, he was minding his own business. He like pulled his phone out. He typed a half-ass joke. In his mind, he thought, LOL, this is gonna be funny. His fucking phone went full vibrator mode, and he looked at it. There was a missed 100 calls.
That was the most woman moment you've ever had.
I went
our
for
relationship. But anyway,
and then the end of it, literally the end of my whole wall of text was like, in case this was a joke, I want you to know it was a shit joke, but I do forgive you if you were intending it for it to be a joke.
Yeah, it was a joke. But anywho, to loop back around. So anyway, I have always been of the stance that lolly shit is weird as fuck. Like not lolly in regards to like petite women, but lolly like characters that look like children being sexualized. I always thought that was weird as fuck. Again, I regret my old thumbnails and stuff like that I did for like shock value type things and comedy reacting type things. I've always like said this, but I did find that stuff weird. Definitely not pedophilia, but weird.
Maybe maybe I'm out of touch on this, but I think like a statement like that, I feel like that is a realm where a lot of people should be like able to agree or like agree to disagree kind of thing. Like if they stand against you, they're like, okay, fine, but like I disagree with you, but like it shouldn't turn into a giant hate mob, which seemed like is kind of what's happening, I guess.
But
like,
anyway, so Rev made a video, like this is years ago. Again, I think that at this point, at least from my perspective, it's kind of water under the bridge. But like years ago, Rev made a video like basically blasting me, calling me a hypocrite, and you know, because it's like I was cool with lollies, but here I'm not cool with lollies. That was like kind of the hypocrisy. And from my perspective, it wasn't really like a hypocrite situation. It was much more of a this was a bad joke, and people are taking me out of context in other places, and that was kind of my perspective. And I ranted on stream about Rev, which I regret. I said some really out of pocket shit, admittedly. But no, that was an L for sure, and I think regret that also. But again,
I do think there's a lot
that caused like this divide between me and Rev, and every time I'd get into like a controversy, bro, Rev would be there, man. He would be there. But like so that's why I was so surprised when he made this video.
Well, I think, and here's the thing about it. Like again, I am in the same book with you. Like when there's like that kind of definition of lolly that you described is something that makes me uncomfortable as well. Like when I'm watching an anime and there's like an overly sexualized character that looks very young, I'm like, no, it's not something I'm comfortable with. I don't mind petite chicks, but freaking like that, I agree with you on that. What I find
it's sort of a personal thing, but anyway, so
but
that's kind of always been my stance.
Yeah, well, and that's like I think there's a lot to be said about the situation, because I think, and I think it's a lot when, especially in content creation, because content creation is a very large part of people's life, right? Like content creation is easy / not easy depending on like your like where you're at and all that. But I mean, I've spent like 12 hours a day, multiple days, multiple weeks. Like content creation is almost a lifestyle. And I think there's a certain moment where a lot of people spend so much time on like in content creation. I think there's a certain weakness that can happen where when you get emotional and irrational, people make content. And I think that's where a lot of mistakes can kind of happen. Even like you said that you got on and you popped off against Rev and now you regret it, or you've apologized for it, you regret what you said, it was completely uncalled for, you've obviously just said all that stuff, and
well,
the fallback,
completely uncalled for. I don't know, completely uncalled for, but I definitely popped off too hard. Like,
I'm a gamer.
Details, I said some shit that obviously I probably should not have, and I do regret.
Yeah.
I mentioned this on a stream, and I think Rev reacted to that on like his second channel, and he was like also like wanting to put the past in the past, which was very cool. Again, I think at this point, like we're just kind of living parallels here. Like I think we do share like a lot of an audience. I think that ultimately our stances on probably 99% of things are relatively aligned. It's just
which would explain why you guys share a big
anime children. I find it like fucking weird.
And I don't like, and at the end of the day, like I've always been very upfront about the fact that I am gamer anime adjacent. So like I don't know too much about like the whole thing on literally all that. I pull up an anime, I watch it, I like it or I dislike it. Like a lot of the anime I watch is generally much like the video games I play. They are usually darker themed, they're psychological horrors, like they're in that realm of things. I think the one that kind of just comes to mind for me is Fate Stay Zero. I think like the Jack the Ripper character. No. Fate Stay Night, but Zero, like the darker version.
Okay.
Like Jack the Ripper in that, like I was actually uncomfortable with how like Jack the Ripper was in that one.
Wait, there was an anime with Jack the Ripper? You mean Fate Apocrypha?
No. Fate Stay Zero.
The Ripper. No, there's Fate Zero.
Oh, maybe it was Fate Zero then.
But Jack the Ripper's not in Fate Zero.
Who's the? There's definitely
Jack
then
the
that's
Ripper's
not the
in
one.
Fate Apocrypha.
I don't think that's
Fate
the one I'm
Grand
thinking
Order.
of.
Also, I don't know about her getting sexualized. But anyway, the it's not the point, okay? I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm just now I'm like going down the rabbit hole. But that also proves my point. Like I'm not like I'm anime adjacent. Like I'm not very good with like all that kind of stuff. No, that's definitely not. Oh, wait, hold on. Actually, I think it is the character I'm talking about. That is the character I'm talking about. But she doesn't have the clothes on. It's like what was underneath the clothes or the hood.
The point
Anyways.
is I definitely was edgier than I am now at different points. And I do regret some of the edginess for sure. But ultimately it is, I think the word hypocrite like has a whole new meaning online. It's like if you ever say something that goes against something that you believed 5 years ago, then that makes you a hypocrite, which I think is kind of crazy. But I do think that's how kind of these misinformation spirals really keep spiraling. Like,
well, here's also the problem too, like hypocrisy, and it's like none of us are perfect. Like things change, we grow up, we mature, hopefully. Like who we are when we were a teenager is different than who we are now as an adult because we just go through so much more life. We make mistakes. Like one of the things that makes people mature is us going through mistakes. We make a mistake, we endure the repercussions, and suddenly we're like, oh fuck, wait a second. Like, ooh. And like, so then there's like this weird thing that's happening now, and I think it's because of the internet. People are cataloging all this stuff. In normal circumstances, we make those mistakes and we move on, and like we change the way we do things, which could, I guess, quote unquote, be seen as hypocrisy because we matured and we grew, we learned. But because the internet is eternal, people are going back 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and they're being like, well, what you said back then contradicts what you're saying now, so you're a hypocrite. And it's like, well, I mean, yes and no, but the only reason the hypocrisy is coming up is because you learned from your mistake. You decided to grow from it. You decided, I don't want to be like this anymore, so I'm trying to change. So it's like the internet is like these people that are trying to like criticize are like, we expect perfection out of you since day one, and we don't want you to grow or mature. We just want you to be a beautiful ball of perfection with no, faults. And it's like
I had a meme that I've been saying in my videos that I completely stand by, where basically every time I have like a hot take, I'm like, listen, I hope that you can agree with 80% of my opinions. 20% of my opinions are probably crazy and you shouldn't agree with, okay? Like I'm fully willing to take the L on about 20% of what I say. Yeah. If you acknowledge that the other 80% are really coming from the heart. I think I need to grift more is my problem.
I don't think you know how to grift, but I would love to watch you.
It's like,
I would love to see you.
I feel like if I just became like a full ass like right wing rage bait channel, I could like
Okay, hold on. Don't insult grifters by saying they're right or left wing.
No,
grifters are grifters. That's
well. No, but the point is, I really need to pick one. Like, I need to pick one mentality. All right, this is all sarcasm. People watching this, you should know this is all sarcasm.
Disclaimer. He's being absolutely serious
and fully grift to that side. That's what I'm saying.
See, you had me until you didn't have me. See, a good classic grift, you can play both sides seamlessly. That's when you start, like, you define your own niche is when you start, like, now you're, no.
But that's literally not grifting. That is being yourself. Grifting is sacrificing your own ideology for the sake of, like, dude,
what do you mean?
How many anti-Trump videos do you think I can make?
I mean, I guess a lot.
So I had like this really good idea. I probably shouldn't say this because I really wanted to do this, but I'm probably not going to at this point because it's too much work. I wanted to start 2 separate channels, okay? Right-anor and left-anor. Right-anor will grift all the way to the right. Bro, you don't understand how far right-anor will grift, okay? Like, right-anor is going to go fucking crazy, okay? And left-anor, holy shit, dude. The amount of stuff left-anor is going to say about Jews, you are not ready, okay?
See, I can get behind that. See, now you're grifting both sides. So we're back to my original statement. A good grift will do both sides. They don't see people like there's it's not right and left for a grift. It's just a grift.
Dude, every time Hassan streams, I just react to the whole Hassan stream. Anytime I say something positive goes on left-anor. Anything that I shit on him goes on right-anor. And we'll see what happens from there. Oh,
well, I think that's also another thing. Like, the internet, especially YouTube. Like, YouTube is so big. I don't think, like, people can fully grasp it is a very, very big oversaturated ocean. So many people can have their entire, like, I had no idea the commentary community even existed. Why? Because my entire dashboard is gaming content. I am gamer. Like, I don't shower because that takes away from gaming time. Like, facts are facts. And we're not going to deny them.
Suck my cock.
Yeah. You trying to say you shower too? Please calm down.
I just showered today, actually.
I bet you didn't. Come on, you were probably watching anime or something.
Showered today.
You were sitting. You showered in your dreams. I don't believe you. Pixar didn't happen.
How petty am I? But anywho, the point is, the irony of misinformation, I think, it really is a double-edged sword. I feel like misinformation and false allegations and stuff like that absolutely can destroy someone's life, and it's a very serious thing and shouldn't be done. But simultaneously, if it's so obviously proven false, I think it ends up as like a Streisand effect, actively pulling people towards someone.
Yes,
like, I mean,
no.
For example, every time I get canceled, I get more views coincidentally. Probably by coincidence. And, I mean, definitely I do appreciate the little pay raise, but, whatever. It's not necessarily worth it. But, like, in regards to someone like Trump, and again, I really think Trump is, like, unique in this regard.
I think Trump proved about Trump's going to be the greatest example for the point I'm about to make.
All right, go for it.
I think people's lives only get ruined on the internet if they allow their life to get ruined. Now, caveat, there is a mental effect that happens. Like, if you, you can feel very depressed on the internet, but if you're at the end of the day, if you put the internet aside, or I would advise people to have 2 different accounts. Like, if you're somebody who catches herself doom scrolling or something, have one account where you look at that negative stuff, but then have another account where you have only the positive stuff. Because I think the only way that your life gets ruined on the internet is if you finally let it break you. Otherwise, you can out of sight, out of mind. And Trump had the whole media against him, and he's like, he just kept going. And look where he's at now.
But in regards to like the what you're just saying, I agree with you. I think the only person that can really cancel you on the internet is you. Unless you do something actually criminal or break terms of service in a way that you actually get deplatformed,
yeah.
The only person that's going to cancel you is you. If you betray your audience, if you are actively caught in some really despicable shit, with
me,
stuff like that. But in general, for example, right now there were hundreds of thousands of people brigading me with hate. But honestly, my audience fucking won. They're the goats. I don't think I lost a single genuine fan over this whole controversy, this post-Nux Clarity era.
If anything, they might have just they might have strengthened the entire VTuber community. Because like you said, even Rev, you and Rev, I saw the you and Rev meme, which I thought was so funny, where it was the 2 muscly arms. That was I forget,
no way, dude. Yeah, no one made that meme. Oh my
God. They did. It was you were being what I said was uncalled for, and Rev was and you were but I still hate you. And then the other side was Rev being Rev was I forgive you, but I also still hate you, buddy.
And then I still hate him. Well, to be clear, I don't hate Rev. Okay, at this point, I feel like just based on past experiences, I feel like I mildly dislike Rev.
It was the meme. It was just the meme. I don't know if I don't know if it actually said hate, but it was that whole core idea where you both pretty much were agreeing.
I feel like if I got to know him, I wouldn't I wouldn't dislike him. But it's just at this point a bad taste in my mouth. I don't know. I'd be down to do something with him maybe in the future at some point.
Oh my! Can I be? We should bring him onto the podcast. No, hey, Rev, you want to come to the podcast?
No. Not with Herbie's here. Anything but Herbie's here. Yeah,
guys, you have no idea. You have no idea how much Nux.
I became full pacifist. I'm all about squashing beef. This is not good. This is crazy.
I know I'm the unhinged one. Dude, the allegations of me pegging you is just gonna go harder and harder now, because it's you're the submissive one. I'm over here trying to be unhinged, and you're all well, let's talk about this rationally. I'm trying to think about all the angles. And I'm fuck them up!
Hermes, you know exactly why I handled this the way I did.
I'm eating pumpkin seeds.
You know exactly why I had to do it this way. Okay.
I had people commenting. They were that was supposed to. It was
not for my sake. You know that.
I know. I know.
Anyway,
you're such a wholesome man. Oh. Even to your homies.
Anyway, ultimately, I feel like there's greater enemies, and that is the morons of the world. And I'm having a very good time making content at their expense, to be honest. But anyway, speaking of nameless morons to make fun of, Streisanding, I feel like I've been trying to get to this point for like literally the last half an hour, but we didn't yet.
Of course. Important
the
stuff.
Don. The orange Trump himself. That man, despite everyone going against him, they called him Hitler, they called him a Nazi, they called him a Russian, I don't know, sleeper agent, whatever. It was all fake. None of it was real, and it did nothing but empower him to be stronger. It is what gave him his entire support system. It is what gave him everything.
Yeah, I mean,
to be honest.
Like, here's something that I do find a bit troublesome with, like, specifically with all the misinformation and disinformation and stuff. I think nowadays, specifically, it's really easy to... If there is an iota of truth in something, it's very easy to drown it out by claiming a bunch of disinformation or misinformation, like just turning it all into white noise. Because again, I don't think anybody is a pure saint. I don't think Trump is a pure saint. Like,
I don't think anyone thinks Trump is a pure saint.
Yeah, yeah, and so I think there's a lot of
like, you're right. There's always going to be like a thing of truth to it, but when the major swaths of misinformation are false, it's, I think, damaging on both sides. It's damaging to the person, obviously, but it's also damaging to the message. Like, for example, Mr. Beast, right? There was just an insane amount of misinformation levied towards him, but there was also some very legitimate criticisms and claims. He did actually have a friend of his, Chris Tyson, that was a freak. He also definitely was involved in some really shady crypto scam-looking things.
I really don't like you using...
What?
I really don't like you using the word freak to describe Ava Tyson.
Why?
Because I consider myself like a freaky person. Like I'm a freaky person in the fact that I do like all kinds of things, but I don't like pedophilia. And I think so describing Ava as a freak when it's more like I don't like, I don't know, man. Like, it just rubbed me the wrong way on that front.
I don't know. If you can think of a better word to tell me, I will use it, okay?
But like, I'm all into, like, some freaky deaky stuff. Like, I've been into bondage and freaking wax play and all that other stuff. Most people would consider me freaky. What do you mean?
All right, next episode we cover Hermes' crazy experiences.
Yeah, we can bring up some Dio clips, let me tell you.
Yeah, but anywho, yeah, all right. Well, if you can think of a better term than freak, I'll definitely go there. But whatever, there was some crazy shit going on, all right?
Yeah.
Like, listen, like really, really creepy shit. But anywho...
creepy is a good word. I like the word creepy. We can use creepy in that.
Okay, so Chris Tyson's a creep.
Yeah.
Okay, anywho, also, Mr. Beast hired a pedophile, never really disavowed that. That was kind of weird also.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, there were these legitimate allegations, but because of all the swaths of misinformation and fake shit that went on, like, once a lot of that was debunked, it literally took the wind out of the sails of, like, the actual legitimate claims against him. Yeah. And I feel like, it works both ways. Because, believe it or not, 2016 Trump was not Hitler. He was president for 4 years, and he was not Hitler. He was not an authoritarian dictator guy. And
he went golfing.
He did a lot of golfing, bro. So, like, when you see that, like, actively debunking the narrative in front of your eyes.
Well, and then you get into this circumstance too, where it kind of snowballs in effect, where because like it's like people use misinformation to weaponize against the other side, but then like the defending side uses misinformation to like defend itself too, because it does go both ways. Yeah, like it goes both ways. You can literally bury the truth by just piling on a bunch of misinformation, like because people are hardwired more nowadays to constantly be like, well, forget about it. Like it slips our mind. We're like, oh, well, you know, that legitimate problem seems a lifetime ago, when in reality it happened like 4 hours ago, but so much misinformation is coming out that it's like people forget about the legitimate thing. And I don't know how it would really even be resolved, because, you know, there's this whole thing where people want to like be absolutist when it comes to free speech on the internet, but the problem with absolute free speech is that includes hate speech, that includes misinformation, that includes disinformation, that includes all of that, and it buries all of the legitimate concerns. Like, and
listen, that is definitely one of the downsides, I guess, of free speech. But if you are starting to censor stuff, then you don't have any free speech. Free speech is in this really weird spot where it's like it's either everything or nothing kind of thing. Once you start drawing arbitrary lines, it's like, where do you go from there, you know?
Well,
like,
and that's, yes. It's like...
Just to recognize for a second, like, for example, Twitch, okay? Twitch does not have free speech. There are terms of service on Twitch, and that you have to follow those or you can get banned. But the thing is, being that Twitch's enforcement is so cringe, and they can ban people for basically whatever they want. They can always come up with some reason to ban them, and ban them for an arbitrary amount of time. Ultimately, they're only going to be banning people that go against the narrative that they want to push. So someone like Asmongold could say something and get banned for it, and Hassan could say the same thing and he won't get banned for it. Now, technically, that is censorship. That is active censorship and pushing of a agenda, a distinct one. So, like, obviously, I don't like that. But then you get no censorship, and then you get like fucking videos on Twitter that'll make your blood boil.
Yeah. Well, and that's exactly, because like now that is the core problem, right? Because whoever's doing it's all about who's doing the regulating, right? Like, and nobody's,
and if there's no regulating, but then bro, how bad does it get? I mean, I think most people take I think I'm kind of this way also. I like free speech. I would like if that, like, for example, I like Twitter's methodology of freedom of speech. I like the fact that they community note things that are verified to be false. I think the community notes are unironically the best part of Twitter, are the community notes. For sure. So that I also very much like, and
I feel
like
so bad for
incitement to violence. Incitement to violence, I think, doesn't necessarily fall under free speech, because that's not speech anymore. That's inciting an action. So
and I feel really bad for the community note guys, though. Like,
oh, dude, they get blasted.
Well, not just that they get blasted, but something that kind of doesn't be thought of too much in the public perception is when you're doing that kind of regulation, like when you're trying to fact check all that stuff, you are actively every single day looking at some of the most vile comments, some of the most vile terms and stuff like that. Oh, and God. And it does mess with people. Like when you wake up every day and you're looking at that, and like, so there's, I do feel bad for those people. Like what they're doing is great. It is like, but my heart kind of goes out to.
Community notes are always right. They're obviously not always right.
Yeah, they're people.
They're people, I guess. But dude, it is easily the best part of.
Yeah. Well, and that's again, we're back to just the regulation thing. Like, it does turn, like, because nobody's going to agree on one single entity that's like, this is right and this is wrong. Like, even the inciting of violence thing, like, there's so many comments where that whole phase where it's.
I saw a community note this week. I was dying. Some guy, I don't know who, some guy tweeted, Joe Biden just pardoned Hunter, but Jesus won't. Okay, like Hunter Biden, he gave a presidential pardon to his son for like a blanket 10 years of shit. So anyway, so he tweets,
well, that was
Joe, but whatever, we could discuss that later. But the guy tweets, Joe Biden just pardoned Hunter, but Jesus won't. And the community note came in and said, Jesus of Nazareth forgave the people who whipped him, nailed him to a cross, and killed him. Dude, that is the craziest community note violation of all time. Like,
bro,
oh my God, dude.
Bro, they cooked
Lord.
with that one.
They
Holy
cooked so
shit.
hard. Bro.
Holy shit, man.
Oh, dude. Anyway, another dope community note was what Joe Biden tweeted, no one is above the law. And he got community noted saying, on December 1st, 2024, President Joe Biden pardoned his son Hunter Biden for crimes covering nearly 11 years of offenses against the United States, which he has committed or may have committed or taken part in during the period. So some people are above the law. It's like, oh God, bro. Dude, they were crazy. Dude, those community note guys are insane.
Yeah, they're probably going to have a lot of fun come here the next 4 years. Holy cow. Dude. Holy crap, this is gonna be wild. wild world we live in. And guess what? I'm gonna be ignoring 90. The most of it I'm gonna get is through you, Nux. So make sure you fact check yourself, because
I don't even look
I'm gonna
at
play
Twitter,
video games.
Honestly, I don't have time for Twitter. I'm too busy dealing with Hermes.
Gosh, I wish you dealt with me more. Oh my gosh, jeez, oh Pete's. How do I become top tier? Like, how do I become high priority? How is it like when I wake up, you just focus on me and only me? How does that happen?
Never gonna happen.
Damn, that's tough. Tough life I lead. Well, I guess I'll play more video games.
I guess.
See, that is what I encourage. Everybody put down Twitter, like, X, whatever social media. Go pick up a controller, play some video games. Ignore the world. Don't play a video game and then go to Twitter. Ignore it. Just go and play a video game. And then if you like that video game, great. If you don't like that video game, play another video game. That is the rule of life. That is the wisdom I embark on all of you.
Yeah, ultimately, I think it's important to recognize that you owe nothing to social media. You don't need to sit there and absorb all the darkest shit in the world and all that. You need to have a good life and have a good family and have good friends that don't backstab you, like Hermes, who probably won't ever backstab me. And
don't we have like 50% chance? How has that not gone up yet?
Dude, I don't have a good track record, I'll be honest.
You really don't have. You know how? Okay. I'm sorry.
The thing, I'm not. Like,
I'm gonna
it's
be
an
this
issue
person.
I'm just not willing to fucking buckle to like somebody else's perspective and shit. Like, I'm not gonna make this whole apology tour that I reacted to hentai in a Discord call 3 years ago. Like, I do regret it.
I don't think that's.
But holy shit, I shit posted 3 years ago, guys. Sorry, man.
I don't think that's really the problem in regards to this. I think the problem.
I don't even think that was Muda's problem. I think that was random Reddit people's problem that like kind of guilted Muda into making that video.
I think you're just like, I mean, I hate to be this person, but I kind of just think you're an easy target. Cause like you just kind of go with the punches and.
Well, I mean,
like,
I do have a good time about it usually. It's just when it comes from people I actually know, it's like it's fuck, man. It's just fuck.
Yeah. This was like a scenario of you just have a type, I guess. and the type is backstabbing you.
No, but the crazy thing is, like, dog, why, bro? You'd think that, like, okay, whatever. Anyway, anywho to lose it. Turns out lots of situations have unfolded where I have definitely been on the receiving end of misinformation. But I feel like misinformation is like on all sorts. I think it's used as like a blackmail material for some people also. Absolutely. It's a weapon. It can be a weapon. It can be a defensive tool. It can be anything. Yeah, no, I think it is. And I think it's like it's used in culture war stuff all the time. It's like,
absolutely.
I feel like a good example of this is Hogwarts Legacy when that came out, and all the news articles were dislike bombing it and giving it like 1 out of 10s, terrible game, and just coming up with random shit. Like, I didn't play the game. From what I've heard from people that have played the game, it was probably like a 7 to 8 out of 10, whatever. It was like a pretty good game. I think most people did enjoy it when they actually played it. But like, yeah, everyone framing it as a 1 out of 10 or whatever because you don't like J.K. Rowling, like, that is misinformation. Your job is fucking reviewing the game like as a game, not based on your, politics and agendas. And it backfires every time. It's like IGN rated Dragon Age the Veilguard a 9 out of 10 and rated Black Myth Wukong an 8 out of 10. With all due respect, that's fucking misinformation. That's a lie, but it's subjective. No, it's not. Yeah. Well, and that's kind of like, again, now we're back to the whole thing of, well, it's technically free speech. Like, and so it's like, where do we draw the line of right? Free speech. That's what I'm saying. That's the problem. That's literally the problem. It's like, where do we draw the line? Do you remember the COVID misinformations? Like, they kept saying there was no side effects to like the vaccines, which is obviously not true at this point. Like, dog, that is just gonna make people distrust the media. How many anti-vaxxers do you think were born from the fact that the media like said that you weren't gonna get any side effects from the COVID vaccines, and it turns out that was not true? I mean, I don't know. Like, man. I feel like it literally birthed a new era of anti-vaxxers. Yeah, I mean, it's just, the world is a very big place, and
Again, it all comes down to the fact that it's like, well, how do you regulate that? Because one side, there's never going to be a whole singular body where everybody can agree on, right? Like, if we came in and we're like, okay, you need X amount of years of scientific study happening on this, then people, like, there's always going to be another group of people that are like, oh, well, that X amount is too small, we need a longer number. Or there's going to be the group of people that are like, that's way too long, we need less. So anything within that.
You're making a good point, but they said it is healthier to take the vaccine, and there are no side effects to the vaccines.
Yeah. No. I'm saying that in like a blanket statement, not
no,
just
I agree
necessarily.
With you. There's always going to be people arguing, except for one thing. I feel like there's only one thing that really unites people, that everyone can really kind of get along on, and that is religion.
You are correct. Everybody agrees on how great a religion is. Yes, true.
And everyone agrees with the same one also, coincidentally.
Yup, absolutely. The Church of Vtube.
100%. But no, the funny thing is, what was I saying? I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh yeah. So in regards to like the COVID thing, did you hear about the Joe Rogan misinformation stuff during COVID?
I probably did, but like I don't really care about all that stuff. I'm playing video games. Valid.
So Joe Rogan made a take on his podcast where he basically said he wanted to take ivermectin, like for it's like an antifungal, like to protect himself from COVID. Whatever. Anyway, so he said something like that. Now, ivermectin is an antifungal that's used for humans and also for horses. So when the media portrayed Joe Rogan's statement, are you ready? They said Joe Rogan thinks horse dewormer is a cure for COVID.
Yeah.
Which is such a disgusting way to frame that entire situation.
It's just dishonest. But it's like, again, it's the normal tactic. Because, like, misinformation, disinformation can be, it is a weapon. It is a tool on both sides. And literally, I mean, even look at thumbnails. Like, it works. That's the problem. People are easy creatures. If something doesn't work, they're not going to continuously use it because it would be pointless to do it. So when things work, no matter how underhanded or sleazy they are, they're going to keep using it because it has an effect. And like those people are clearly trying to target a certain audience, which probably got them like views or whatever. Now in the long run, it probably didn't work out as well as they want because Joe Rogan's still a powerhouse. But
and he's suing them for $30 million.
Well, fucking should at that point. Yeah, he fucking should, because like that's the only thing you can do, at least in America. Like, it's literally about who can sue who for more. It's the money factor.
And that's why the stupid news article put me in their headline as YouTuber Taku seemingly accuses Hassan of whatever.
Yeah. Well, and that's gonna be, it is gonna be a lot more fucking crazy because I don't know how much they plan on leaning into it, but I have even seen like comment like the like CNN side and stuff like that seem to be favoring somebody like Hassan. So now we have, now we're bringing that into, like, we're bringing social media into mainstream media, and
I think it's just mainstream media is cooked. Like, well, yeah. Here's the big difference. If let's just reaffirm who I am, blue idiot on the internet. Okay.
Yeah, so blueberry.
If I spread some misinformation, then it's like, all right, who's gonna believe me? I'm just some blue idiot on the internet. But the news, the news, this is the news. The news doesn't just say things that they know are not true, right?
Well, now they do.
Well, now they do. And I feel like we're really heading to an age where I hope at least people are gonna be a lot less trusting of the shit that they see online.
I do hope. I feel like that is
people just believing everything they see.
I do feel like that's gonna. I think we're still gonna be in a very turbulent period, truth be told, because I am seeing like a lot of the generation that was pretty much like don't believe anything you see on the internet, like was very anti-internet back in the day. Because it's like, you can't believe those people aren't real, internet people don't exist, blah, 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 that whole thing. Like, now they're starting to also continue to get on the internet. Like, I was just talking to somebody, and somebody who shouldn't have even been on Facebook decided now that they want to be on X. This is a category of people that absolutely shouldn't be on either social media website because they were part of the generation that was like, the people on the internet aren't real, and they now they're doing the very thing that they were like bastardizing the younger generation for, which is like they literally believe anything they see online because the algorithm is so good. They don't understand that they're being fed exactly what they don't realize they want. So then they're sitting here and they're believing everything that's getting said, not realizing how it works. So I think we're still going to have a pretty turbulent period, but I think when you get to once you get to like a certain generation, I do think a lot of people are starting to have more critical thinking on the front where like as you become younger,
but
like into the younger,
be that generation.
Dude, I'm just a gamer, man. I am so out of sight, out of mind. I'm just like, I'm playing a video game. I'm hanging out with the homies in the stream. Like, yeah, they're
honestly,
people.
It's like at some point the distractions are just going to be so much more healthy in regards to literally knowing what's going on than the actual news.
They are. No, I will 100% confirm to you, they absolutely are. I was somebody who was in the trenches for a very, very long time. I am far happier with my life. Out of sight, out of mind.
All right, so what's your thoughts on the civil war and regime change in Syria?
I don't fucking know what's going on.
Well,
over
anyway,
there.
yeah, that's what I thought. Trenches, woman. Got her.
I was in the trenches of all the back in the day. I was literally saying that nowadays I don't do that anymore, and I'm happier because all I do is play video games nowadays. I log on to stream, I hang out with everybody, we talk a little bit of shit, we talk a little bit of shit about you, we talk about how you're my submissive, it's a great time, and then I play video games, and everybody has a good time with it, and then, you know, that's it. I don't know what the fuck is happening in the world, and I don't pretend to know what's happening in the world.
Honestly based. I respect that. As someone that also doesn't know what's happening in the world but pretends I do know what's happening in the world, I honestly completely concur with all those things that you just said. So what's an example you have? I know you prepared some examples of misinformation.
You're gonna make me scroll up and find things? I mean, I feel like we already kind of covered a lot of the basis of what I'm talking about.
Well, you had like Pizzagate, and I have no idea what the fuck Pizzagate is. You wrote that down.
Oh gosh. Wasn't Pizzagate? Oh gosh, I'm gonna have to like fucking fully remember everything again. Dude, by the way, I want to point out everybody that this whole like script, he had me write this out like forever a fucking go.
You know, it's hard to find things that you send me just simply because you send me too many things.
Well, maybe if you
like,
respond
you
and
like, I think before you send me like a wall of text, you should put it in ChatGPT to summarize.
You know what? That's actually probably a good idea.
Like, it is impossible to comprehend what you're saying.
But the other problem with you is you, like, respond, like, so... You know what? Okay, you respond not on point and rapidly, so then I just sit here and I'm talking a whole bunch, and then it becomes a wall of text about, like, 20 different conversations. And you know what the craziest thing about that is? I'm pretty sure that I'm one of the people that you respond to most. So I'm terrified to see how you talk to other people. Can you confirm and or deny that allegation?
Whoa, wait a second. This is not a me allegation things. We are literally not doing me allegations right now.
What? I'm pretty sure I just did. I allegated you right to your face.
Yeah, no, I answer everybody mostly as much as I can with normal words, except you have to understand, sometimes it's really scary when you get like 4,000 messages at a shot. You have to deal with not only reading it and understanding it, but also responding. And you don't like start one conversation at a time. You start like 7 conversations at the same time. Like you'll send me a message with so many different topics. Like sometimes I'm so like just lost. How am I? And you don't even do it in different messages so I can respond to them individually. It's like one slab. I can't even click reply on individual sentences. You literally vomit out 7 topics in one just wall of words. How am I supposed to deal with? I end up breaking down in bullet points. I'm like, 1, in regards to this point, yes. In regards to this point, okay. In regards to this point, I disagree. And I have to, I spend more time trying to compile the things you say in a digestible format to even begin to respond. Hence why I respond in emojis from now on.
all I heard from that point, the moment you said return the slab, all I could think of is Courage the Cowardly. So, return the slab.
Return the slab. Oh my god, you are a villain. You are a villain. Anyway, awesome. On your stupid freaking text wall number 5, because you numbered these.
I have to, because here's the problem. You say, listen, okay, chat, it was a little disingenuous what he said. I generally start with one conversation, but he takes so long to respond. I literally have to go into, you usually do. I don't know what you're doing over there. You're probably being a normal person that touches grass and stuff like that, maybe making dinner. I don't know, but you do normal people's things, so you're not on point. You're not on point with the responses, so then I have to keep talking. And you can only imagine, we're not even scratching the surface of the backlog of topics that I'm planning to discuss with you, but I do that for you. I sacrifice that for you. Yep, I drip feed you. Mm-hmm.
All right, anyway, so let me read out your points. I'm not going to read them out in totality because we only have a 69-minute slot for this episode and no one's got time for all the words you put in here. But basically, you put in like six different types of misinformation. I don't know how you came up with this, to be honest.
I'm gonna be caveat with you really quick. I'm gonna be real. There's probably a whole group of people that can handle my whole Nux. I'm gonna be real. I plan on doing like 30 minutes of conversation before my streams, and it usually lasts like an hour to 2 hours.
This doesn't surprise me, like even remotely.
Yeah, and I talk about nothing. Literally, my talent manager was like, it is phenomenal how you just sit there and yap about literally nothing and you entertain like 100 people. How? You don't have a point. You don't, get out of here, you bitch. Wait, what? You're not in my chat. There's no fucking way you're in my chat. You do not even know what that word means. Get out of here. You're just gonna bring me into the awkward silence moment, are you? Huh?
You said get out of here. Oh, you regret your decision. You regret the words you've used. Anyway,
I didn't say
so on your
don't
wall.
See, all right, guys, we have a perfect example of misinformation live right here. He inserted the words regret into that statement. I never said I regretted it. I said we're in the awkward silence phase. I didn't say that I regret
the awkward silence phase.
Don't kink shame me. Maybe awkward silences turn me on. You never ask. What do you mean?
So your first example that you gave in the text wall was how cognitive biases contribute to the spread of misinformation.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Okay, yep, that's where we are. Yeah, like, obviously, like, people look up to people, right? And when you look up to somebody and you admire somebody, or even, like, when you have happy feelings towards somebody, you generally have a unconscious, like subconscious bias in their favor. So when you get, especially, this is really bad in social media too, when you get all these people who have like, you know, X amount of people that look up to them, that go to them every single day, there's gonna be a subconscious bias.
True.
So if they go around and say something, that's the cognitive bias. Like they're biased in your favor.
Right. And I do think it definitely does make misinformation worse by the fact that someone you are trusting is saying something. And for all you know, the reason why they're saying it might not even have malice to it. It might just be that's what they heard from a friend. That's what they heard from something that they just believe. And
exactly.
I think it very often doesn't have malice involved.
Like
you heard something and you just repeat it because you, I guess, believe it. Like just because why would your friend lie to you? And then and you spread misinformation like that. I think that definitely happens a lot.
Yep, and in my, like, I would actually confidently say that in my 5,000 years of existence, I rarely come across people who are extremely malicious. Like, usually maliciousness is a smaller factor. The bigger one is generally
to maliciousness what you could attribute to stupidity.
Exactly. More times than not, in many circumstances, and I don't say this as an insult, it's usually just ignorance. Like, you don't have all the information, you have a certain level of bias, because at the end of the day, humanity only has 24 hours in a day. You cannot invest your time. There is a literal time restraint.
I think most people just don't care. someone will tell me something. Now, I could spend the next 4 hours digging into what they said to see if it's actually 100% true or not. Or I could just be like, you know what? It's just easier to believe it and move on.
Yep, exactly. And I mean, I think the only thing, like one thing that a lot of people I think need to, especially people in influential positions, is I think they need to be humbled in the way of just accepting when they don't really know what the topic is. Like I said,
I think that's true.
I'm upfront. Yeah, like I'm upfront.
Right.
I'm a fucking gamer. And like I said, I'm anime adjacent. I don't really know what the dramas are about anime or anything of the sort. I pull up the anime. I usually nowadays, I watch like the top 10 animes that are going on. I decide if I like them. I decide if I don't. But most of my time is spent video gaming. I know the gaming dramas. I know all that. But I don't really have I have my own personal feelings.
Dude, you got to do stuff that makes you happy. Like, ain't nobody got time or energy to deal with just wading through all this misinformation.
You hear that, guys? You hear that, guys? See, Nux admits that he just got to do stuff that makes him happy, and he's here doing this podcast with me, which implies that I make him happy. And I'm going to tell you something else. I'm going to tell you another little secret, guys. I was, because of everything that, like, you know, audio, blah, 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 we know that he had a really rough week, and I was even willing to be like, listen, this is this is a great week, and the thing. Yep, and the thing about it is I was even willing, and guys, you need to understand, I'm a very egotistical human being, so I don't do this lightly, but I was willing to sacrifice this week. If he just needed this week's podcast, if he was willing, if he wanted to just, you know, potato around and indulge in anime or whatever, I was willing to let him do that. And he said, no, Hermes, I need you in my life. We need to do this podcast because you're just a shining example of everything I wish to be, and you make me have warm, fuzzy feelings, and I need you. That's exactly what happened.
I need to capitalize on December ad revenue.
See, now we call that deflecting. He's trying to
You are not
seem
my
like
psychologist, okay? Let's not talk about deflecting, okay? Get out of here.
he doesn't want to seem vulnerable to you guys because he's a big, strong man. And I respect that. I love a big, strong man in my life.
That's me. But anyway, number 2 on your list is how social media algorithms prioritize content that might include misinformation.
Oh, you cut out.
How social media algorithms prioritize content that might include misinformation. And I think that is definitely true, just because the algorithm will always send you down rabbit holes. Like, you're going to watch something politically charged, and then the next thing will be even more politically charged.
Yeah.
And it'll constantly just ramp up until at some point you're just in, like, actual conspiracy theory land.
Yep. Well, and that's kind of the other thing too. Like, it kind of plays into number 1, because at the end of the day, there's like 2 major ways that you can kind of influence, quote unquote, people, and it's through hate and it's through like joy and love. Now, it's far easier to have somebody follow you by like fear mongering or hate speech or anything of the sort. And I think because that's the easier methodology, not only does mainstream media do it, like fear-mongering is so common in mainstream media, right? But like also social media's algorithm is starting to realize that, where the rabbit hole becomes a lot deeper and a lot easier to get those views and keep people hooked when they're talking about how bad the world is, how terrible things are. Oh, this awful thing.
That's why all of my videos, despite the fact that I think that my videos are optimistic and wholesome, they are like largely titled negatively, just simply because it's fun to talk about negative things, right? Especially when it's like, dude, fuck, man, there's so much negative shit that goes on in the world. I just want my content to make people smile. I don't want to like sit here and like every time I see like political people get involved into topics, it just makes me so sad because like they're actually just gonna sit there and you know, like they literally make things as dire as possible. It's like, if the right wing wins, we're cooked, guys. You know, and it's like, stop being so dire, okay? You know?
Yeah, and
like,
I mean, it's...
See, that's why I consider myself an entertainer first, and my videos are purely for entertainment, all right? I'm not here to social justice, virtue signal the crap out of you guys.
That's where I am too. I am an entertainer, and if anybody is taking what the person acting like a 5,000-year-old god says seriously, I feel like I can't help you. because I am an entertainer.
This all gives us free license to misinform as we please, is what I'm saying.
That is exactly what we've learned here.
Who makes believe they're not for entertainment purposes, even though, let's be real, they're definitely for entertainment purposes. In one way or another, I think just the news has become entertainment. It's, it's like,
I just don't think they know how to keep up.
Meltdown, or despicable right-wing racism, and it's just like it's all part about validating yourself and the people in your little echo chamber, and it is entertainment.
That's exactly.
I don't even think it's news anymore. I just think it's like vitriolic, spite-filled entertainment.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, because it's literally
Except
about
for the woke
again
liberal meltdown, because that's pretty funny.
Yeah, like, and absolutely, like, it drives me, again, I've also dealt with it a lot, because gaming has always been that kind of, I mean, now it's mainstream, quote unquote, but there has been a very long time where gaming was looked down upon. It was that weird thing. It was what the freaks did. It's what the nerds did, like, the geeks did. Yeah, well, a little more mainstream than before. But, like, even back then, politics tried to get involved, right? Like, politics tried to get involved back then.
Politics have always been involved. Bro,
yeah, and it's so annoying.
I want to wrap up on one point. I think you're going to completely agree with this. In our childhood, the right wing tried to ban gaming and Pokemon and stuff like that because it was satanic.
Yeah,
and
I remember
now,
that.
In our adulthood, the left wing is trying to censor gaming and shit for not being inclusive and stuff. It's like, and that's no matter where you are, the establishment will always be there to put its cock in your face.
Yep. And it's all about influence at the end of the day. And that's why that's
in my opinion, the number one motivation for misinformation is all about control. And power.
I mean, I've known how bad it was with, like, back in the day with the right wing, because, like, D&D was considered absolutely satanic. I've known people who aren't
Harry
around
Potter
anymore.
Got banned and,
because of how hard it was.
Whoa!
Yeah, because of how hard it was. So it was literally like, I understand, and now it's just it's the same dance, just a different fucking side now, and that's why I tell, like, my community and everything, I'm like, I'm anti-extremism, so whatever side decides to be fucking extreme dealing with my video games, I'm not on that side. Like, I just want
I mean, I don't know if I'm as sided as you. I feel like I'm really on no side. I'm just doing my own thing and saying whatever the fuck I think is, like, worth saying at any individual
Yeah, my
point.
side is gaming. That's my full-blown stance. I'm like, give me a small team of very passionate people and let them make video games and fuck off everybody else. If it succeeds, it succeeds because they were good. If it fails, they failed because they had a skill issue.
Marketplace
they can figure it out.
Ideas, motherfucker. Listen, it's all about the free market, all right? Capitalism forever, baby.
Yeah, and the fucking journalists can get the fuck out of the situation. The fucking everything can just fuck off. Let people make their video games.
Just make good video games.
It doesn't even have to be a fucking good video game. Just pour your passion into it and then learn from your mistakes and then fuck off, Nux. No, just kidding.
Well, anywho,
I've watched
69 minutes.
I've watched my fair share of B-rated movies. There's a special place in the hearts of B-rated movies, okay? So not everything.
I am in desperate need of a good show. Like, I am in desperate need of a good show. Like,
B-rated movies are never good shows, but
I don't want a B-rated movie. I need a good show. I need one. I feel like it's been so long since I had, like, a long-ass show to just get lost in. Bro, I need another Breaking Bad. I need another Game of Thrones, bro. I need
just
another
pull up my
fucking
stream
One
every day.
Piece. No.
I am a good show. Just watch me play video games. You can get lost in my great bosom of video games.
All right, well,
it'll be
subscribe
fine.
for more bosoms. Check out Hermes. Appreciate you guys a lot. This was fun. Can't wait to see what news articles get spun out of this episode. Next episode, we will not be talking about anything remotely controversial. That was probably misinformation. And remember,
I still want to talk about lore and storytelling. I brought that up, but he's like, you don't have any bulletin points for that one, so.
It's not about the bulletin points. How am I going to title the YouTube video? Lore and storytelling?
Comment section. Come up with some banger titles for how storytelling has dissolved in the modern day compared to olden days, all right? Go, do it, commentary. I know you guys know how to
we'll
come up with
see.
some banger titles.
Thank you all so much for being here, and remember to stay weird, fam. All right, you ready? I'll do the intro, and then we get rolling.
Yes, sounds good. Sounds perfect.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Are you asking me consent right now? Like, what is happening?
I always ask for consent.